Welcome back to a Clear and Obvious podcast. This is our first edition of the full English. I'm joined by my co-host Sam.
Hello.
And we are joined for the first time. We have a guest. Robert, want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Robert, indeed. Thank you for having me on this Clear and Obvious podcast. I'm honoured to be here.
It's
for
a
the
true
first
honour
edition of the English podcast. Yeah,
it's a start of many to come, I'm sure.
Yeah, going to get a guest every week on this podcast, or we're going to try to.
All of the calibre of our Robert here.
Yeah, Robert is one of the best. He is one of the greatest minds in Romanian football.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
One of the few minds of Romanian football, it must be said.
The only mind, yeah.
But we're not going to talk about Romanian football, as you can judge by the title. It's full English, so we are onto our English show. We're no longer talking about Serie A and Bundesliga. We've switched over to the country we're in. Midweek and weekend there's been FA Cup games. We have had some cracking ties, that must be said. We've also had Carabao Cup games. There's one that we are just recording. We've got the Manchester Derby on tonight. So Shrewsbury 2-2 against Liverpool is probably where we should start, don't you think?
I think we get Robert to talk about it, as he's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
Robert, what do you make of that game?
Well, I think it was an obvious result, because since Liverpool are not exactly going for the FA Cup, you would expect them to draw away at Shrewsbury. And I think it's really good for Shrewsbury as well, because imagine that, having a replay at Anfield.
It's big, isn't it? It's big for them.
For a League One club, I think that means the world to them.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Tell you who it doesn't mean the world for is Jurgen Klopp, though. He definitely doesn't think it means the world for him. But we'll get onto that later. 2-2. Liverpool went 2-0 up again, sort of playing the kids. They went 1-0 up through Curtis Jones, who's looked pretty good recently when he's got a few opportunities. And then it was an own goal just after half time. And then they brought on Jason Cummings.
What a hero. I mean, off the bench, Ian Wright said at half time, I tell you what, he's going to come on, he's going to make a difference, he's going to score some goals. And he did just that. He ran the defence ragged, and he took the chance he had.
He did indeed, yeah. He was asked after the game, and he was like, I believe I could come on and change that game completely. And lo and behold, he did. What's your thoughts as a Liverpool fan on the FA Cup, Robert, just as a whole? Did you value it? Obviously not as much as the league, but do you think it should be something they're going for?
Well, I think any trophy is worth going for, because you're a big club, you're Liverpool. You need to win trophies. I get it that the Premier League is the main objective, and to be fair, I don't think they need to focus on that anymore, because, yeah.
Oh, okay. So we've got a Liverpool fan here saying they're definitely going to win the league, so that means they're definitely going to bottle it.
No, they're definitely going to win the league.
Okay. Heard it here. We didn't hear it
first. Just take it from me, yeah.
Take it from you.
But I think what Klopp should have done is just go for the EFL Cup and the FA Cup as well, even though, of course, the Carabao Cup couldn't really happen since the Club World Cup,
Yeah.
Since we won the Champions League, we had to go play in
Subtle flex.
Salt Flex, yeah.
Well, yeah. So there'll be the replay at Anfield. Shrewsbury will be well up for that, and as we know, Liverpool won't be. A couple of big results. Sam, we'll go to you on this one, because City they kind of mullered your Fulham, didn't they?
I'd say mullered is harsh.
Harsh?
I mean, getting a man sent off after about 6.5 minutes is the most ideal thing. It's one of the best attacks in Europe. But yeah, I thought we weren't great. I mean, we had one shot in the whole game on target.
Oh, well, there you go, efficiency.
It was never going in, but it was on target. Yeah, Bobby Reed. But then, we basically tried to play out at the back against City, and they basically capitalised and scored loads of goals off that.
4-0 final result. They never seemed it to be in doubt, really, did it? I mean, no.
You're not
going to try and argue for his case.
I wish I could say that I had hope, but I didn't. Especially after 6.5 minutes, I knew the game was over.
It was all over. Well, Gundogan opened the scoring. Then it was Bernardo Silva, fairly close after that. Then after half time, Gabriel Jesus got a quick double in 3 minutes, and that pretty much put the game to bed, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, we were nowhere Yeah, woeful. Congola made his debut, made probably the tackle of the weekend, one of the contenders for tackle of the FA Cup.
Is that an award now we're giving out?
Yeah, no, I think we give it to it. Yeah, tackle of the FA Cup, one of the greatest tackles of all time, to stop Jesus from scoring. Now, it was a fantastic tackle, and yeah, that's the only highlight we had in an absolutely woeful game.
Brilliant. Well, a game where there wasn't an awful lot of tackling was Tranmere Man United. They got absolutely mauled, did Tranmere, on a beautiful pitch, it must be said. The pitch
Woeful.
every blade of grass was beautifully placed. Did you see the pictures before the game where they were actually sweeping off standing water from the pitch? It's hardly surprising, but it was an absolute bog. Phil Jones, 3 minutes into the game, looks pretty clean. But yeah, no, as it goes, United dominated this game. There was zero hope of Tranmere really ever doing anything.
Yeah, I mean the fact that the United defenders were popping up with goals. Phil Jones got a goal, Lingard got a goal. It shows how bad Tranmere are. Oh my goodness me. Jesse Lingard got man of the match.
He was brilliant. He's found his level, I tell you that much.
Yeah, League One, mate.
Yeah.
It's Jesse Lingard's level.
Yeah, I tell you what. Yeah, give him a chance against Shrewsbury as well. I reckon
Yeah.
he'd knock some in, don't you think?
No, he won't.
Fair enough.
Shrewsbury's a top opponent for any Premier League team.
Yeah, clearly.
Hugely classy opponent. I like them a lot. But yeah, no, Tranmere never really stood a chance. It was 5-0 at half time. First time United have done that since 2001. First time we scored 5 before half time. So there we go. There's a fun
Stat attack.
So nice. Stat attack. Someone can fact check me later, but I'm pretty sure that's right. I'm assuming anyone's listening. So local Northampton derby. The Cobblers ground out a 0-0 draw. We were all at it. We were all there.
Yeah, we
And
were.
we all enjoyed it.
And we're all going to the replay.
We are all going to the replay.
Go to Pride Park.
God, the state of that.
It was thrilling. No, one shot on target in the entire game. Charlie should have got sent off within about 10 minutes. But yeah, apart from that, it's so exciting. Scott Pollock ran the game.
Scott Pollock ran. We will talk about him later. Let's hold off the Scott Pollock frenzy for a minute.
Though Rooney, yeah, he does look.
looks
He basically gets to the ball and just sprays it 60 yards to another
Doesn't
player.
really need to run, does he?
No, he doesn't run.
He's finally allowed to put on a bit of timber because he doesn't
Exactly.
need to run. He's been out in the MLS stuffing his face with burgers and he's come back and he's just not changed. But he's great. He looked really good. He was that sort of touch of class. But yeah, Northampton actually had the better of chances. I mean, we looked pretty good
We
as it
hit the
goes.
post once.
Chances
Yeah.
in inverted commas.
They weren't clear cut, were they?
It's,
If Sam Hoskins could cross. But there we go.
Sam Hoskins.
No, that's
any
this is not-
technical ability.
No, this isn't Sam Hoskins slander. I like Sam Hoskins a lot. Running with the
fast.
ball, he's great. He's quick. Yeah, he's
To be
not
fair,
an awful lot else to
Usain Bolt
say.
is fast. Doesn't mean
His
consider
footballing
professional
career
football.
was something else, yeah. But this isn't about Usain Bolt's footballing career. Another fairly big 0-0, Newcastle Oxford United. With the replay coming up at Sam Stadium, Oxford actually looked the better team. Newcastle fans were giving away tickets. Well, the Newcastle fans weren't giving away the tickets. The club were giving away the tickets for a ridiculously cheap amount.
It's like kids for a quid, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah, it was great. And
It's a good initiative to get people. They got like 50-something thousand, almost filled it. That's
yeah,
mad.
for a game against Oxford United.
For a game in the
they-
FA Cup.
No, as a class trophy.
Yeah, but like early rounds FA Cup.
Oh, completely, yeah. Especially against Oxford United. It's
Exactly.
not the glamour tie we're all after. But yeah, no, Sam Maximan after the game as well replied to a fan saying it was the worst game he'd ever had. So I'll rate that from him. Not many players do that. So yeah, shout out to Alan Sam Maximan.
I thought you said Sam Maxwell. I was
No,
like,
not
who's
Sam
he?
Maxwell. I must
This is
have
some
missed this
Oxford player.
Yeah, no, one of the greats.
Yeah, no, I'll rate his honesty, to be fair.
Yeah.
And
Not many
yeah,
players are, so
I actually like him. His Twitter's brilliant.
his Twitter's great, isn't it? Southampton Spurs was probably the other major one. 1-1 draw. Just Spurs went 1-0 up and then
Foul
Southampton.
equalised, yeah.
Classic
His
Spurs.
first goal since 2017, which ironically was also against Spurs.
Really? Wow,
Yeah,
that's
there's a stat.
There we go. We've got a couple of statisticians here. We're just waiting for Robert to come in and drop some knowledge.
You're
Yeah.
gonna have to wait a lot for that.
I love that.
We've got a very positive person here on the
We
pod.
we really do, yeah. The life that he brings. Yeah, no, 1-1 draw. Sofiane Boufal, technically, he's a pretty good player, but he's not really a goal scorer. So for him to it's a class goal, though. I mean, almost effortlessly, the way he stroked it into the back of the net.
Yeah, haven't seen it, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll take my word for it. It was a good goal. Now, so we got all these results coming in, big, in inverted commas, results, couple of replays. Do you think, and we'll go to you first, Robert, as a Liverpool fan, because it's probably it's probably big for you more than anything. Has the FA Cup lost its meaning and charm?
I don't think it has. I mean, it looks like it has, since all the Premier League teams are generally not interested in any of the smaller competitions, smaller in brackets, because the FA Cup is still important. It's the most important competition in English football. But if I'm talking from a Liverpool fan's perspective, I understand why Klopp decided to just kind of give off on the club on the cup competitions and just focus on the Premier League and possibly the Champions League, because everyone just sees Liverpool as that club that always brags about stuff and doesn't really provide anything.
Yeah, I can see that, and I guess I see why the FA Cup seems to have lost its charm, and I'd say that down to the big teams more than anything, like you say.
Definitely.
But it's huge for the small clubs, Sam. Like Fulham, it's massive.
I love the fact you've gone to me for the Fulham perspective and called us a small club. But yeah, no, too bad. Teams like, I'd say Premier League, below Premier League, it's big competition. I mean, if you can get really far in it, financially it's amazing for teams like Shrewsbury. A replay.
Just think about Northampton.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
Get 250 grand they got.
Exactly, for being the last League Two team back in it. I mean, that's that can do wonders. That can finish a stand.
So we can only dream.
For context,
they need another £9 million.
Yeah, for context, the Northampton one of their stands isn't finished because some guy stole the money for it.
Basically, bought in some investment money and decided, I'm off with that 10 million. See you later, council and football club.
He didn't even go far because he's bought a house in Northampton.
Yeah, with that money, he's a clever guy. But
smart bloke.
Yeah, I think it's huge for the small clubs, and despite the big clubs not always respecting it, I think that I don't know. I'd say it's still a big competition.
Completely. I mean, you look at previous winners of it. So the only real small clubs that have won it in the last 20 or so years are Wigan and Portsmouth. At the time, Portsmouth weren't big. Okay, let's not have that. But no, last winner, counting back, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, Arsenal, Wigan. Chelsea, Man City, Chelsea, Portsmouth, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal. The list goes on of big teams that have won it. So when would you say it's just the latter rounds that big teams start to take it more seriously?
Definitely.
Yes, but I think that happens in all cup competitions. Let's be honest. Just
Agree.
look at the Spanish Cup.
Yeah.
When did Barcelona or Real Madrid play a full squad in the Copa del Rey before the semi-finals?
Yeah,
because they
played
never do.
Pretty big team against Ibiza though. So I mean,
oh my goodness, they almost lost
Don't
that
get
game.
me started.
Griezmann saved
they
them.
had a DJ in the stands. But yeah, that's a story for another
Typical
time.
Ibiza, that is.
Would expect no less than the players on the sub bench to be downing Jaegers.
Somehow Ibiza away was exactly how I imagined it.
It certainly lived up to the hype, didn't it? But I mean, back on the FA Cup front. So yeah, you'd say that teams take it seriously the lesser they go onto the competition, and that is the same with all cup competitions. But do you think, and Gary Lineker has been talking about this a lot recently, there should be replays? I see the argument for both sides, but do you think replays should still be in place?
Yes.
Why?
Generates more money for the smaller clubs through ticket sales in the both games. The argument is, I guess, that the players, it's more draining for them as it's over 2 legs, and it's like another fixture in the schedule. And I guess for a big club, that's quite a bad thing when they got Champions League and whatever they're doing in the way. But then at the end of the day, that's like 5 clubs.
It's true, yeah. And when you hear people moaning about this, it's normally fans of major teams. It's normally fans of big teams that are like, the fixtures are too congested. But do you think that we should try and, I don't want to say look after, but look out for the bigger teams that are representing our country? That sounded very patriotic. In European competitions. Didn't mean to sound that patriotic. But do you think that they should be protecting their players? Otherwise it leads to these replays of managers promising to only play their kids in them. Do you not think that that almost devalues some of the FA Cup at all?
Okay.
Well, there we go. That's the answer to that. Thanks, lads.
That was.
Thanks for clarifying, fellas.
That was a great debate. That was
Incredible debate. Don't watch Sky the debate.
I understand your point, but yeah, I think replays are a good thing, and yes, you should. I guess you can look after them, but then also these lower clubs who are wanting replayers have a lot more fixtures than the teams in the Champions League, Europa League.
Yeah, and there's a lot more financial gain, as you say, to be made by them. Robert, replays, yes or no?
Yes.
Good man. I like that. Yeah, no, I also agree. Replays, there probably should be them. It's big incentive for the smaller clubs. And I'd say, actually, if anything, it keeps the magic of the Cup alive because it gives those smaller teams a chance, like Tranmere when they beat Watford, to take the replay back to their home ground and beat them. So I think on that front, it's definitely a better thing. So I'm glad we're all in agreement on that front, so that makes for there to be no debate. So we've got a couple of sections coming up. This is actually a lot more organised than the previous one that we did. We've got a Twitter trending section. Basically, we're going to look through what's trending on Twitter, weirdly, and look at what players are trending, transfer talks, what teams are trending, for what reason, and we're just going to basically use them to set up what we're going to talk about. So we'll start off with Olivier Giroud. He's been trending on Twitter. Sam, why's he been trending on Twitter?
It's been trending on Twitter because Inter Milan looked to have dying interest in him. They were quite interested at first, and I thought that move was going to happen. Then they seemed to pulled out, and now Tottenham are emerging as a candidate, as it looks like Piatek, who was their number one transfer target for a striker. Looks like it's going to Hertha Berlin in Germany. So, yeah, Giroud looks like he's going to go. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to. He's being rumoured to go to Tottenham, and I think he's played for Arsenal and Chelsea, and he might play for Tottenham.
But I think even if he did play for Spurs, as an Arsenal fan, I might get a little bit hate for this. I wouldn't mind it. I just think the way he left Arsenal was actually our fault.
I quite like him.
Yeah, I love him.
I think he's a great striker.
Underrated.
And I think his performances for the national team illustrate that. He keeps out some class forwards, and just the way he links him with Griezmann and Mbappe, it's just fantastic. I think he's a brilliant forward. I think that could work for that Spurs team because they brought in Bergwijn, and they've got Son. So if he played like a striker role, then flipped the ball on and like held up the ball to play through Bergwijn and Son to run on. So like
and Moura,
and Moura, very like the France national team. I think that could be a superb signing while Kane is out.
Because the majority of Spurs' talent does come from their quality out wide as well as their attacking midfielders.
Yeah.
So I think if you have a striker that could do the dirty work like Giroud does, because I mean that might devalue him somewhat, but he's not necessarily a prolific goal scorer. He's got a decent goal scoring record, but it's not amazing. He's a striker that can just hold up the ball, lay it off, and I think he could be valuable for Spurs as much as I hate to say it. What do you think, Robert?
I've never liked Giroud, actually.
Why do you like Giroud?
I never understood his role. Like, he's a striker, but he doesn't score. How does that make any sense?
I can see that, yeah, as a primary role for a striker.
Sam's talking about his performance in the French national team. Just think about the World Cup, the last World Cup in 2018. He's had like one shot on target in the whole competition.
Yeah, but it wasn't necessarily his role. It was more like Mbappe and Griezmann had were the ones who were assigned to score the goals, and then
So
Giroud,
what did he do?
What did he do? He linked play well. He played. He had a brilliant World Cup. He didn't score. He was fantastic. To say a striker has played really well without scoring,
Just doesn't make sense.
He's a different type of forward. Like Firmino doesn't score many goals, but he's still a brilliant forward. Oh yeah, he scores a few.
This season he scored.
This season he scored.
But typically his link-up play is what he's more valuable
Exactly.
for.
And Klopp doesn't necessarily have him in for that goal-scoring ability. He has Mane and Salah for that. Meanwhile, he has Firmino to link play, drop in, put holes in the defence. I think Giroud's a brilliant striker.
I see your point, Robert, and I see yours as well, Sam. And I think as a striker, his main role is obviously to score goals. But if your secondary role is to be linking players together, and I think he's valuable on that front. But he's just a different type of striker than a lot of strikers out there, because most strikers are prolific goal scorers.
Right. So how would he link into the Spurs team?
Because he's got these attacking midfielders of Bergwijn, he's still got Moura, he's got Son, and I think if you were able to play the ball up to him and you could have those guys running off him, I think you could get an abundance of assists as well as bring the deeper midfielders into it. The likes of Ndombele, all of those guys could be bought into it if he ever plays, or Lo Celso. I think they could be bought into it if they bought Giroud. He wouldn't provide the goals that Kane does, but I think it would give more impetus to the rest of the team to score. So I think he's not the Kane type, he's not the Kane mould, he's not the goal scoring mould, but I think his link up play is so valuable that if you put him in that Spurs squad, I reckon he'd create more goals for the rest of the team.
Definitely agree with that.
So should we move on to Giroud?
Yeah,
Go
let's
on.
do it.
We could talk more about him. I mean, why does he
Yeah.
not play for Chelsea,
Because they got Tammy Abraham, who's very good.
who's a goal scorer?
Yeah, because the system that Frank Lampard plays, you need to have that sort of pinnacle at top. to
Every
score goals.
manager has a style of play and an idea of how to play
Yeah,
football.
but Tottenham has Kane.
And also,
Yeah, who's out for the rest of the season.
Okay, but
would you? There's also on Robert's point. There's also an argument to say that they should be bringing in a striker that is in that Kane mould if they want to
Yes.
replace him, because Mourinho typically has had that one pinnacle goal scoring striker. I mean, you think about him at Chelsea, he had Drogba. At United, he had Lukaku for the goals that he did score. He seems to have had that. Do you think that could change the way Spurs play for the worse or for the better?
I'd say for the better. I think it would. I think so. Comparing it to Italy, first season, Ronaldo came into the Juventus team, and the other players stopped scoring because he became the primary goal scorer,
Sure.
and that made players frustrated. Meanwhile, Giroud coming in would be like he wouldn't score that many, but then the players around him would get so many more goals because of his hold-up play, the way he just brings them into play. I think I'd just really rate him for that.
Anything to say on that, Robert?
I'll take that. We'll
That's
see.
fair
We'll
enough.
have to see, I guess.
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. If it works,
This
it works.
doesn't really change my opinion on
No, completely.
Olivier
Yeah,
No,
Giroud.
yeah.
completely. I completely agree. On that front.
Understand.
Yeah. So we'll also also trending on Twitter. We'll go to the other side of North London. Pablo Mari. We have bought in a centre back.
A
Hallelujah.
good one.
A good one.
A
Yeah.
supposedly good one.
Well, if Edu's got anything to do with it, then I trust it.
I mean, you've got one case. You've got Martinelli.
yeah, our one case. It's 100% success rate with that particular case
One out
study.
of one.
1 out of 1, exactly. So hopefully we'll make it 2 out
He
of 2.
can't be worse.
He can't be worse than
That's the
Mustafi or
only
Luiz,
thing.
Yeah.
He can't be worse than. Though Mustafi, after he made his mistake the other day, played quite well apparently.
Yeah, no, he did. No, I watched that game and he was great after he made that mistake, but I can't forgive him
But
for
he
that
he
terrible
makes
pass.
mistakes.
And that's the problem. Hopefully, this guy can come in and I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know an awful lot about him.
He played in the. He played against Liverpool,
didn't he? Yeah.
in the Club World Cup. He was alright.
Well, they held them until extra time, didn't they?
Exactly.
So he
Was
must have been
that-
doing something right.
Yeah.
Did he look good against them?
He was really good.
Yeah, he played well. He's been okay recently. I saw his match ratings, which aren't really what to go off because I haven't seen them, but that's the only thing I have to go off.
Sorry about that.
So, yeah, the only thing I've to go off is match ratings, and they've been like average. They've ranged from like 7.2 to like 6.1 in the
Brilliant.
last 5 games. So,
We will see.
but
hopefully.
Mustafi's probably like a 3 or a 4. So,
Well, exactly. He's got to be an improvement on what we've currently got. Also trending on Twitter was Jack Grealish. He's dragging Aston Villa through this season, isn't he? I know you don't. What's your opinion on him now, Sam? Because when I spoke to you earlier in this season, you weren't his biggest fan, mainly because of what he's done against Fulham. What's your opinion on him now?
I don't think it's necessarily what he's done against Fulham. I just don't think he necessarily got the goals or assists in the Championship should have done.
Sure.
But yeah, this season he's carried Villa to have a chance of staying up and to an FA Cup final, and I respect him for that.
Carabao Cup.
Oh, I don't
Carabao
care.
Cup. Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
They might.
Yeah, Carabao Cup final, and yeah, I'd still say he's best in a number 10 role behind the striker,
Sure.
but he won't get as many goals or assists. He gets a lot more key passes and like assists. But the problem they've had this season is they've had Wesley, who hasn't really scored a lot of goals. But then when Wesley's been injured, they've played him on the wing, and they've put El Ghazi up front. He's been woeful. And due to the fact that they've had no other goals, Grealish has kind of like stepped up because you can tell he goes 100% every week for Villa. And that's one thing I respect about him. He goes 100% every week. He loves the fans. He loves the club he plays for, and yeah, he gets important goals. He has important contributions. He falls over a lot, but
Falls over a lot.
but
That's what happens
yeah,
when you get punched by a Birmingham fan.
That is true. Yeah, naturally.
nah, he should have stayed up. He
Yeah.
dived.
No.
I mean, exactly. What's he doing?
On his prospects in getting into the England team, Robert, do you see him potentially featuring in Southgate's plans?
For Euro 2020, definitely not.
Really? Definitely not. How come?
I think Southgate's already got a pretty decent team.
Yeah.
The one that played at the World Cup with a few minor exceptions.
Sure. Okay, yeah, I could see him filling into that. So if we play a 4-3-3, I could see him filling into that more attacking role. But I do think Maddison will get in there ahead of him. I don't think he could play the two. But I think he'd go. I just don't think he'd necessarily start.
I don't think he'd go.
He could
You don't think
make
he'd
the
go?
squad.
I personally think that I think it's been great this year, but I'd bring Ali and Maddison over him.
Would you
So
not
I
bring
think
them?
they've been better.
I guess, yeah, I think that's certainly a point you can make. I think Grealish this season's been so good that Ali's also been great. That's the thing. It's not like one of them has been terrible.
Exactly.
And all three have been brilliant.
It's also a fact that we don't know yet, is Grealish looking good because he's in a team that isn't scoring a lot of goals and he's the only one scoring goals or creating chances. So we don't know that until they've got a new striker now, Samatta, who missed an absolute sitter against Leicester. But that's the only thing I have to go off.
He did all right in Champions League.
Yeah, he's got 3 and 6 in the Champions
Yeah.
League. He's got 7 and 20 in the Belgian Pro League.
He's no mug.
Yeah,
Probably.
that's not a bad. Who knows?
Who knows? I guess we'll
Yeah,
find out.
that's not a bad record. I mean, so he could be a good striker. We don't really know much about him, but yeah, it'll be interesting if he joined a big club. I think it'd be interesting to see would he still look as good.
That would be
That's
the
what
thing.
I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I could certainly see him going, but I also see the argument for him not going. But yeah, as you say, he's been carrying Villa this season, especially to a Carabao Cup final. Moving on from Jack Grealish to Dries Mertens. He's been trending on Twitter, Sam. Why has Dries Mertens been trending on Twitter?
He's been linked to a very late in the window move to Chelsea. Yeah, I saw. Don't remember. I think it was the Daily Mail
Trustworthy.
reporting this one. Yeah, I don't know how much, but it's trending on Twitter. A lot of Chelsea fans getting excited.
15 million, isn't the
Yeah,
figure?
I've seen 50 million being
Yeah.
bounded about, and
He's a bit older, isn't he?
he's 32. He's not playing.
No, Gattuso doesn't like him.
Is he great? Would he add that much to a Chelsea team?
I'm
No.
I'm not sure he would. No, and I don't see how he fit into their system.
Exactly. So, if anything, I hope he joins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's it. No, because he fits so well into Napoli's system alongside Insigne with that one pinnacle. That one striker up top. He'd sort of work well with Insigne just in behind. And I think in that Chelsea team, I'm not necessarily sure he would fit in as much because they do have that one top striker up top, but they also play with wingers, whereas Napoli play with wing backs. So if you're going to put him out wide, then he's going to have to track back, and I'm not sure in his age as well as play style he'll be able to do that.
He's also too old. He's
Too old?
no, that's harsh.
Harsh.
He's 32.
Ronaldo's like 34.
Yeah, I know, but Ronaldo is like the body of like a 23-year-old.
He does, yeah.
So yeah, he's a freak of nature. But yeah, Mertens isn't. Mertens, I don't know. I think he's all right. Don't think they should sign him. Yeah.
That's pretty much all.
But I think the Chelsea fans get excited because they don't watch Italian league, and
No.
you watch the Italian league more than most English
Yeah.
football fan. You know, he hasn't done that much this season.
Oh,
he's
no,
not getting
been
played.
playing.
Exactly.
No, with the whole rift with the owners over at Napoli and Gattuso coming in, Gattuso doesn't necessarily
He
like
doesn't
him.
fit in the system.
Doesn't
does
fit
he?
into the system. And yeah, he's just been out of favour at the minute. He's also struggled a little bit with injuries as well, so we give him the benefit of the doubt on that front. But I just don't think the signing would make an awful lot of sense for Chelsea, considering while it was unlikely they've been linked with the likes of Werner, and I just don't think that it's of that calibre. I think it's almost like it's nearly the end of a transfer window. We actually need to get someone
Definitely
in. A panic
agree.
buy, I'd say. Last one on Twitter trending. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Is Cedric Suarez, the Southampton right back, has been linked with Arsenal. Why has he been linked with Arsenal?
That I've no idea. I suddenly seen on Twitter that everyone's talking about Suarez. It was quite a reliable source. Lyle Thomas, I think, works for Sky Sports.
Yeah.
He said that a colleague had been quite reliably told that this was a possible deal, and it's probably the worst right back in the Premier League.
Wow.
Which, and I'm not even joking. He
That's
can't defend. He can't attack. Him and Neil Taylor would make the worst fullback partnership in probably the world.
Honest review of Cedric Suarez.
Yeah,
Here we
he's
are.
awful. I honestly, Maitland-Niles doesn't look good at right back, but he's so much better than him. So yeah, he's rubbish. He's absolutely rubbish.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Arsenal will sign him then if he's rubbish.
Yeah, no, most likely. Yeah,
Completely. So, should we wrap it up with Twitter trending? Do you reckon? Finish off there.
Robert, you got anything to say on Cedric?
I can't talk about Cedric. I don't actually know anything about him.
That's fair enough.
So
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen an awful lot of him play.
I have.
Yes.
It's rubbish.
Brilliant. Okay, well, we'll take your word on it, Sam. That's it for Twitter trending. Yeah, very organised section of the podcast. We will go on to another section. We are full of sections here.
This is the most organised podcast we've ever done, and this is the best sounding podcast.
Best sounding. We're in a other than the computer sounds alert because I had one of the carts up, but we're learning. But we're in a studio now. We've improved.
Yeah,
no
sounds
more.
so good. I can actually listen to myself.
It's brilliant. No more.
Oh my
No more
goodness.
echoey.
It feels
tinny.
professional.
Yeah, it's great. We've got mics that have extended. Anyway, we're gonna stop.
Yeah, we'll ramble on all day.
Yeah, we're rambling on about this beautiful studio here at the University of Northampton.
Yeah.
Changing futures.
Hashtag ad.
Hashtag ad, yeah. We have not been paid by the Chancellor.
Oh,
so we've
yeah.
got... we can only dream, yeah. We should get him on. He's great. Anyway, so we
Right.
have got another section. It's called The State of This. Basically, things that are a bit of a state that have gone on in the last week. It's not too...
Absolute state.
Yeah. I'm going to go to you first, Robert. So, Klopp, again, we'll go back to him because we didn't talk about him in an awful lot of detail and we said we'd go on to him. So we'll go back to him now. With this replay coming up against Shrewsbury at Anfield, he said that he's going to play the kids. Firstly, do you see it being a team that being a weaker team than the team that you played against Everton in the Cup, or do you see it being that same team that they played against? Who was it they played? Villa, when they got absolutely battered.
it's definitely not going to be the one that they played against Villa, because that was just kids,
Yeah.
nothing else. The first game against Shrewsbury, we actually only had like 4 kids in the team, 5.
Yeah. Okay. So do you see him? Because obviously against Shrewsbury he did play with likes of Fabinho. He did have a couple of experienced heads in there. Also, there's been word about him not necessarily just playing the kids, but also him not even being there. I mean, what do you think about that?
He's not there.
Oh, yeah, he said
He's not there. Neil Critchley.
Can't believe it.
I get it why you think it might be weird or disrespectful to the opposition or whatever, but I think it's his choice to make.
True.
He's definitely allowed to do it.
But he's paid to be there.
He is, okay, but I think Sam could come in on this.
Yeah, because you were talking about earlier. To be fair, you were talking about how I'll give my personal view on this. Is that I don't mind him necessarily playing kids. Of course, it might devalue the FA Cup and it is a little bit disrespectful for Shrewsbury. But obviously, you play a team set out to who you're playing against. But I think that if he's not there, I think that's just taking a liberty. I mean, he's paid to be there on the sidelines, managing them, and I get you can have a break. But isn't that what the summer's for?
I personally think that he will play a side that... I think he'll play a side more to the Villa. I personally think it will be all kids. And I think that... I don't know. I don't think it's that bad that Neil Critchley is managing over Klopp, because managers kind of deserve a break too. The mental strain of it is quite... Because it's like every day... Like, footballers don't have this. You don't go into training one day and think, I could lose my job.
Yeah.
Just now.
Players get rested. I guess you could make an argument for managers getting rested, but also is there necessarily, and this might be quite cynical of me, but is there necessarily a massive mental strain on playing Shrewsbury at home in an FA Cup replay?
It's not just
It's
that.
not about the opponent. It's just
It's throughout the season. They've had to play so many opponents. They're vying for their first Premier League in years.
But
they're
first Premier
looking
League
to
in history.
they're looking
Yeah.
to retain the Champions League. They're out of the Carabao, aren't they?
Yep.
And then they, I reckon if they got far at it, they would concentrate on the FA Cup.
Sure.
And they've had a lot of games. I know it's like these lower league managers. He's also had the Club World Cup, which is Qatar. I mean, that's mad.
Yeah, and I guess
It's kind of like
to be
hot weather training.
True.
But like,
But he's out in Qatar. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not bad, is it? I don't know. I think when you look at teams
I mean,
over
if
history...
going to Qatar, I wouldn't say it's great.
Well, no, but lovely weather, probably a swimming pool. I'm just saying, it's not obviously lounging around. But I just want teams in history that have been great, because Liverpool right now are up there, one of the great teams, just because of their unbeaten run that they're going
At the
on.
moment, yeah.
At the moment,
definitely.
they are. You look at teams over history, the Sir Alex Ferguson Uniteds, the Arsene Wenger Arsenals, the Mourinho Chelseas. Did they ever take a break for an FA Cup game?
Sir Alex Ferguson played some dodgy teams.
He played some, but he was there. That's what I don't have an issue with playing the kids. I just have an issue with Klopp not being there. I think that is.
I think that'll become more common.
Do you reckon?
I think he'll start something. I think that'll become more common.
I don't necessarily
I
want
don't
it
think
to
so.
though.
I don't think Klopp not being there for one FA Cup game will just make all the other managers just take.
We're not talking about sort of a
unpaid
mass
leave.
walkout of managers. Just like every other game, maybe they might be there. But I see.
I don't think that's what's gonna
I
happen.
don't think it'll be every other game, but I think it might get to a point where if they've got a packed schedule, they might be like, yeah, you manage this game. To like, and it's also a fact that if they play their young team, Neil Critchley is their. Am I right in thinking he's their academy, like manage their academy teams?
Yeah.
Sure, he's been with these players for a few years. Surely he can get the most out of them because he's been with them for years. I understand that playing under Klopp, yeah, but they have done that as well.
Yeah,
they've done that as well, and
is.
it's like playing under. And what an opportunity is for Critchley as well.
True. That is a shout.
He's managing Liverpool, and it's not their academy team. He's managing the first team,
Yeah.
and that's like that could. It's like if you need a job, like work experience for him. Like, look, it would look great on his CV.
So patronising, blimey.
I know,
Chuck it
but
on his
like,
work experience.
exactly.
Yeah.
But like, if he's going for a job in the future, he could say, "Oh yeah, I've actually managed Liverpool first team in the season where they won the league."
Sure, I can see that. I personally take issue with him not being there, but I completely see your point. I just think when you look at all these the teams that have been great over the years, the managers themselves haven't taken the liberty in not being there for certain games. But I completely see where you're coming from and giving Critchley a chance with the first team and him not necessarily being there because of the mental strain. So save banging on about Klopp and Critchley forever, we're going to go on to the other part of the state of this section, which is Ed Woodward's home being protested at, rioted at, what do you want to call it? And Sam, do you want to bring up this conspiracy that's been knocking around?
A lot of people on Twitter are saying that this is a PR stunt, that this is set up by the Sun. Because if you look at the image, they're very professionally taken. They're all posing for the camera.
It is a little bit,
and it's a bit like
something doesn't seem quite
yeah,
right.
It's a bit fishy, and it's also
fishy. The Sun, surely not.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also the Sun don't have a great reputation, do they? And it was like
putting it lightly.
Only two people like the first two people were to report on it were the Sun and TalkSport, and the TalkSport's owned by the Sun. And so it's like it just looks a bit too like set up for me.
Does.
I mean, I condemn or
condemn. Yeah.
Yeah,
Condemn.
Yeah, I condemn those United fans for being a part of it and for doing it. 'Cause it's just he's a family. I know he's got a family who's done nothing wrong. He hasn't got the transfers you've wanted him to. Okay, and he hasn't been running the club brilliantly. Doesn't mean you should like throw flares. And some people are saying, yeah, he's not like they haven't like rocked up with the machine guns. Yeah, but he's got a family. Imagine how scary it is if someone started chucking flares at your house. He has kids. Imagine them just looking out the window and there's like people just shouting, "We want your dad to die."
Yeah, it's. For me, it's so petulant and it's so arrogant of United fans because you see teams like Bury going out of existence. You see teams like Coventry not even owning their own stadium. And they think that they have the right to protest outside their owner who has, their chairman who has pumped millions of pounds into his club. And while you can disagree with his transfer decisions, on a moral front, to go to his home, throw flares and protest, whether it's set up or not, is on the United fans. And United fans, you can't call yourself fans if that's what you do. Don't you think, Robert? I mean, it's utterly disgraceful what they've done.
It doesn't even matter that they're fans protesting outside their chairman's house. You can't do that in any situation ever.
Yeah.
You can't just go around chucking flares around people's houses because you think you're gonna like get something out of it.
Yeah.
Unless you're Balotelli.
Yeah.
Unless Balotelli. Yeah, okay. But he does that in his own house.
Yeah, he loves it.
Loves a little firework pie in his bathroom.
He does, yeah. I don't know. I think it's disgraceful from the United fans.
Disgusting.
Those that are involved, there should be some sort of ban on them going to Old Trafford.
Definitely. They should be arrested.
They should be arrested because it's illegal, isn't it?
It is so illegal.
Pyrotechnics in public. There's something about that. It's law.
It's not even in public. It's that man's property.
Yeah. That's the thing.
United have said that they are going to investigate and take legal action, and that's totally the right route to go
completely.
down. I mean, are they even fans?
No.
I'm sorry.
They can't be classed as fans.
It's honestly a disgrace.
It's pretty disgusting to see the footage.
Football fans can be ruthless.
It's
and
barbaric,
This is just
isn't it?
one example of that. But imagine, like, Turkish football. You see that happen in the stadiums.
And Greek football, yeah.
Greek
Yeah.
football as well.
It happens a lot in countries that we like to think are full of these thugs that go wandering around. Yet when it's in our country, it doesn't. I don't know.
We turned a blind eye, kind of.
Completely.
We kind of like let it go because we're like, oh, this has happened. But yeah, did you see what happened in They're like, oh yeah, but did you see what happened in Greece?
Yeah.
Did you see what happened in Turkey?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Comparing
happening. It's
ourselves.
happening in our country.
Yeah.
We turned a blind eye to it, and
Didn't
it-
football hooliganism start in
Yeah, it
England?
did.
Completely. Yeah.
I mean, what was the movie? It was
Green Street.
Green Street,
And Football Factory.
And
there's
Football
there's a couple
Factory.
of classics.
Oh
Danny
my
Dyer.
goodness.
Ah.
Millwall and West Ham.
Yeah.
And big. Oh.
And we almost like to glamorise it, I'd say, on
Yeah.
that front. And I don't think this has
They
necessarily
made
been
a
glamorised.
Hollywood movie out
Exactly,
of it.
they've made three Green
Exactly.
Street films and Football Factory. We've glamorised this hooliganism and this thuggery to be, as it seems as if they're all some sort of old school gangsters. In reality, they're just thugs. And people that have done this obviously should be reprimanded. It's completely disgusting. Anything more to add?
Not really. Nah,
We've
they
pretty
should be
much-
ashamed.
It's grim, innit?
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
So that fittingly ends the state of this section, and we'll go on to our last section of the podcast. It is Wonderkid Watch. All three of
If
us.
only we had a fitting jingle.
It would, yeah.
We'll come back in a few weeks with a few jingles.
Yeah, or I'll cut one in. I might find a jingle
Yeah.
between now and
I'll
editing
do
it.
it.
I'll put in. You know what? I'll find a good jingle that's not an Allier theme tune.
Oh my god. Do.
No, we're not-
No,
we're
we
not
might
gonna-
get copyrighted. We sound too much like it.
It's too accurate.
I
Oh,
know.
what do you like? So, Robert, we'll go to you first. So basically, we'll break it down. We've picked one supposed Wonder Kid. I've just hit the mic. One Wonder Kid.
You're
each.
Archie,
Yeah.
having a domestic with the mic.
I'm gonna hit you in a minute. Don't clip that out. Yeah, Wonder Kid Watch. We've all picked someone under the age of 23. I think is what we've discussed.
I mean, we were gonna do 21, and then
I've kind of cheated.
yeah, then Robert's thought, nah, Puskas,
Yeah,
Romanian
I love
hero.
it. Yeah, go against the rules. I rate that. Yeah, we've all picked one each, and we're going to basically analyse them, what they've done, particularly recently, to get them into the news and where you can see their careers going. So, Robert, we will start with you. We've got, well, you introduce them. They're not
Straight
here,
up.
but introduce them.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I'm going to talk about George Pushkash.
Ooh.
Not related to Ferenc.
No,
No, different
Different
countries.
country, yeah.
Good.
Never say
Glad
that
we
around
clarified.
a Romanian.
Yeah.
Never
gosh.
call him Hungarian because, yeah.
Yeah,
Have,
okay.
have we mentioned Robert's Romanian?
Yeah, it's because we haven't mentioned some diversity.
Yeah.
No, I kind of cheated on this because he is 23 years old. He's not exactly a wonder kid, but he is a phenomenal striker, and I love him. I absolutely love him. He's playing for Reading.
Sorry, carry
Okay. Sam's
Yeah,
gonna
carry-
talk
carry
about
on.
Harvey Elliott in a second.
No,
He's
I'm
gonna-
not. I'm not.
We're not getting you on that tangent.
Oh yeah, we're down.
Carry on with Puskas.
Yeah, go.
No, but genuinely, I've started watching him fairly recently, since he's been in the Romanian national team, and he's kind of playing well around there as well. In the Euro under-21s when we beat England.
As you like to bring up fairly regularly, yeah. What would you say are his best qualities then as a player? Would you say, what was it, running with the ball? Was it
He can score.
he can score goals? Where's
He
he
can
play?
score goals. He's playing for Reading.
Yeah, position-wise, where's he play?
Oh, he is a genuine striker.
Out and out striker, sort of number
Yeah.
9 kind of role.
Yeah, he is.
He's not just a striker. He's a genuine
genuine
striker.
I love it. I love a genuine striker.
I love how you asked me where I see playing. I thought you didn't know he's playing for Reading.
Yeah, no, you did mention.
Yeah,
so,
we
I
did
mentioned,
laugh.
He is, yeah. Yeah. I don't know why we're laughing at Reading because both of the teams that
Well,
we've got our players
he
from are
started,
worse.
He started his career at Inter, if that makes it better.
There we go. Started his career at Inter.
And you didn't know that, Archie?
No, no. Call
He's
me,
played four
call me a
games.
semi-Inter fan.
Yeah.
4 games for Inter.
4 games for Inter.
Did he score?
No, he didn't.
Prolific.
Incredible stuff. Would you have him ahead of Olivier Giroud?
Of course.
Of course.
Definitely.
You don't rate him. I
Olivier
like that.
Giroud didn't score a hat-trick away at Wigan in 5 minutes.
Wow, that's no mean feat. So do you see his career going beyond Reading, or do you see this being sort of his capped at Reading?
Well, hopefully he goes someplace else. But as is the case with Romanian players, they just don't really get to do much.
Yeah, go further than Berkshire, hopefully. That'd be nice, yeah.
I don't see it happening, to be fair, just because of like recent history with our players.
Sure.
And how football clubs just tend to not care about them.
Yeah.
But he deserves a lot more, and hopefully, if Romania make it to the Euros, which I don't see it happening.
Iceland in the qualifiers.
Iceland
in
away.
the playoffs, sorry.
That's going to be a great game.
Great game. That'd be quite interesting, that game, actually.
If they make it to the Euros, I think he's going to be one of the ones to watch.
Heard it here first, then.
Yes, from me.
Brilliant.
A genuine Romanian.
A genuine Romanian.
genuine
Talking about
Romanian.
a genuine
raised.
striker.
We've
There
got
we
a
go.
genuine Romanian.
A genuine
You don't, they don't get more genuine than
Robert
than
Constantin.
Robert.
That's it. Well, thank you for that, Robert. So George Puskas is one to watch out for. So Sam, who have you picked for us? Can I guess he plays for Fulham? I'm not going to guess because I've got his name here. Jay.
You know he plays for
Jay
Fulham.
Stansfield. Well, yeah, it was a given whoever you were going to pick there.
Yeah, no.
For Fulham.
Jay Stansfield, 17-year-old, who we got from Exeter on a external scholars deal. And let me tell you, they were not happy about that. A lot of Exeter fans and coaching were not happy about the way we brought him into the club, but he's ours now.
There you go, he's yours.
He's a forward. He's played for Fulham twice off the bench. He made his debut against Aston Villa in the 2-1 win in the FA Cup.
Nice.
And then since then he's come off the bench against... Who did he play against? He came off the bench against...
Disappointed with you, Sam. Disappointed with you. Frantically
come
scrolling
against?
through his phone. Who did he play against? This is the question.
Yeah, I don't remember, but
Okay.
he's played twice.
He
for
played
us.
against them, whoever
Yeah.
they were.
He played in the Championship, so he's playing the FA Cup of the Championship. But yeah, young player. He's got excellent first touch. He's quite a small striker. He's been compared quite like to the Aguero mould. He's not necessarily quick, but he's all about his movement and his clinical finishing.
Sure.
So in the first half of the under-18 season, or in the under-18s league this season, he got 23 goals, which is quite impressive. Bear in mind he scored only around 16, played only 16 games or something like that. And he made his debut for the under-23s and came off the bench and scored in I think it was a 3-2 win, which is and it was a cracking goal as well. And then he's been training with the first team ever since. And
Did you see him getting his proper chance in the first team at all? Past Mitrovic?
no,
No.
but Fulham recently have been producing some quite good talents. I mean, Ryan Sessegnon's gone for Tottenham for good money. We've had Patrick Roberts quite a while back, who
Scraping the barrel here, Sam. You've got
Yeah.
one player that's got in the Premier League and suddenly you're
Patrick Roberts has won loads of league titles.
True,
Might have
yes.
been with Celtic, but
pivotal.
yeah, and
as
he
a
was
player,
great.
yeah.
No,
Celtic was, yeah.
but yeah, we've produced talent with Steven Sessegnon on the one. He's got a lot of first team football this year, and we've got a lot of young players being inducted into the first team. And I think I think he's played a massive of minutes. He hasn't played that much, but I think he could be I think he could be a great player.
One to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I
Brilliant.
think he could be a Premier League striker.
Sure.
Honestly.
Well, I rate that. So, I have gone with a local lad. I've gone with Scotty Pollock.
Oh, who's that?
Hashtag United legend, that's who he is.
Remember the
Scotty
name.
Pollock, remember the name. Hashtag Scotty Pollock. He went from hashtag United to Northampton.
The mighty
The
hashtag
mighty,
United.
the mighty, yeah. He's now playing at the PTS Academy Stadium, the PTS Academy Stadium.
The PTS.
Um,
the PTS.
Not any.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
the one
mate.
that's missing an east stand. Yeah.
It is, yeah. The
He's
free
got half of it. Come on, be
Yeah,
kind.
let's-
I mean half. I mean
Let's be
most,
fair.
almost half.
But no, he's got a little bit of a chance. He's been given more chances this season than he has any other season under Curl. He's not really a Keith Curl kind of player because he
Say
doesn't.
that again.
He doesn't.
Really good, isn't
Because he doesn't
love-
lump the ball forward every time he hits the ball. He's
Basically,
more
yeah.
creative.
Yeah, he
and
doesn't.
likes to play short passes, and Keith Cole likes to get the ball and hoof it 50 yards to Oliver,
Yeah.
who'll chest it down and then they'll lose the ball and not have a shot for like 90 minutes.
Pretty much, yeah. No, he can't. Yeah, he basically spends the majority of his time sort of looking over as the ball's kind of going
He
over.
literally
Like
does.
a tennis match. I can imagine his neck's a little bit sore. But no, he's got 8 appearances in League Two. He scored a goal with a 2-0 win away at Carlisle. He's got his first goal. Actually, a very good goal. Sort of
I've seen it. It's a
top
great
bins,
goal.
top
I was
bins
raving
finish,
about that
yeah.
for like 3 weeks after.
Yeah, milking that dry. Can we get him on the podcast as well? We need to get him on.
We will end up.
Genuinely, I
Scott
think we got a
Pollock will
chance.
get on this podcast.
Yeah, him and Peter Crouch on the same podcast. Anyway,
We're not getting Peter
no, we're
Crouch on
not.
this podcast.
I think Crouch is a little bit
Yeah.
far up there, both in height and just being on a good
Huge.
podcast. He played 3 times in the EFL Trophy, including a game against Arsenal under 23s. And well, he came on.
He pocketed Wayne Rooney.
He came on for
completely
about
pocketed him.
25 minutes against Derby, and to be fair, he came on. He didn't look too bad. He looked pretty bright on the ball. Physically, he couldn't quite deal with the combative nature of Derby's midfield and defence.
He's a bit weak.
Don't call him weak. We want to get him on the podcast. He's just got a slight frame.
Okay, I'm sorry, but yeah, he's not got a big physical presence.
Yes, that's exactly how I put it. That's why he's not the Keith Curl style, I'd say. But no, I could see him getting more chances under Curl. Because he does like to play the odd technical player. I mean, the odd technical player, I say Nicky Adams. That's pretty much it. And a couple of deep line midfielders. But no, I think he's got a genuine chance of breaking into this first team on a regular basis. And I genuinely think he's got a decent chance. He's only 18, so he's got a whole load of his career left to be playing. Of course, he's played at Wembley twice, which is probably twice more than most Northampton players in the prestigious Wembley Cup. So yeah, I think he's genuinely got a chance of being pretty good. That's pretty much it for our Wonderkid Watch. We've got a couple of games that are on tonight, so when you listen to them, they'd have already happened, but you can listen to how woefully bad our predictions are for them.
Brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you'll be able to hear us get them all right. So, Robert, we'll kick things off with you. There are 2 games in English football today. There's a Premier League game being played because your team played in the Club World Cup. Liverpool are playing away at West Ham at 7:45. We'll go round the room for our predictions for that. We'll start off with you, Robert, as you're a Liverpool fan. Seems fair.
Right, do you want an exact score or just...
Yeah, no, exact
give us
score.
a score line.
You want a score? Well, considering West Ham is going through some really bad
When
form
aren't
lately,
they? Yeah.
I'm going to say a 4-0 Liverpool.
Who's home?
West Ham.
West Ham.
It's feasible, yeah. I could see it happening.
Yeah, no, fair.
Yeah, fair enough. That's it. Right, 4-0 Liverpool.
4-0.
That's that. Continue your unbeaten run. What about you, Sam? What do you think that score's going to be?
I think it'll be tighter. A lot of people don't like David Moyes. I think he's alright. I actually don't think he's that bad a manager. I think he's alright. They're coming off a 1-0 loss to West Brom, and West Ham were woeful.
They looked
I'm
terrible.
not like they were woeful, but West Brom also give them a bit of credit. Like they might get promoted,
Yeah.
might if they don't bottle it, which they look more likely to than Leeds
Every
now.
championship
But yeah,
teams.
I reckon. I think it could be closer. I think I'm going to say 2-0 Liverpool.
Nick my result. I was going to go 2-0.
You can go 2-0 as well.
I know. When it is 2-0, we'll be right. That's
Yeah,
it. Or when it's
exactly.
4-0, Robert will be right because it probably. There's a chance.
It'll be
that Liverpool-
3-0.
You know what? I'll go 3-0. I could
okay.
see West Ham have very little going forwards.
They're just not scoring.
Yeah, they're not scoring. We don't give them a single hope. And now we've said this, they'll go and win and ruin my accumulator. But I don't have yet.
They won't win.
No, they. Well, I don't know. We can't say.
They'll probably score.
I mean,
Do you think?
they did score away
They
at
might.
Leicester.
Yeah, but they've got very little going forwards. To be honest, I mean, Aller on his
That's
days,
harsh.
Aller on his days, okay. 4-0
Haller's
looks
good.
decent. Oh,
4
not
now,
recently.
4 now's rubbish.
What? 4-0's recently. He's been putting in some decent performances for West
better.
Ham. He's better, yeah.
It's only 'cause he
Antonio.
was so bad before.
True.
Antonio's great.
Yeah, he's not really a striker though. I like him more out wide. But yeah, that's. I think Liverpool will win 3-0. I don't give West Ham a chance of scoring. Defensively, they're woeful as well. I don't see this being the game they're going to turn around their form. I reckon they will at some point. I don't see them getting relegated, but
Yeah,
I don't think
very
this will be.
unlikely.
They're unlikely, but I wouldn't say completely out of the picture. If they lose this, they're 18th.
Yeah, I don't
So,
think they will.
I don't know. They probably won't get relegated, but that's that on the Liverpool-West Ham front. And in the EFL Cup, we have got the Manchester Derby. It's the semi-final second leg. And I don't know. I mean, the first leg saw City resoundingly beat United at Old Trafford 3-1. Do you see United coming back and getting through this, Robert, as considering as at the mighty Etihad?
I don't think they're going to come back. But I don't think City are going to win either. I'm I'm seeing a draw, just
So
because
am
City probably doesn't want to just. What?
Shut up. Just because I think the same as him. Oh, look at you.
I'll do nothing on Robert. Just to Robert going.
Disgraceful.
No, I mean just Archie going. So do I.
Yeah, so do I.
Carry on.
What's your score prediction then?
I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw because I don't think City are gonna throw everything at Man U just to humiliate them.
That was
at the
Archie's
Etihad.
prediction.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. Do you, yeah. That was, we'll get to Sam.
I saw your face. Who's home?
Is that the
City.
fortress that is the Etihad?
Oh,
United, they go in with a 3-1 lead, of course, including away goals.
It'll be.
so.
I think it'll be 2-1. 2-1 to Man City. I don't think United will win. I know they've got really fresh momentum coming for the 6-0 over huge Tranmere.
Massive.
Jesse
Similar
Lingard
sized
getting
clubs
man of the match.
historically.
The funny thing is, maybe it'd be funny if Jesse Lingard just propels his career off a 6-0 Tranmere.
Off of a
I don't think he
Tranmere
will.
win.
I've no faith in the fact that he will. He won't. But
I
if he
think
does, that'd be funny.
That'd be brilliant if he did. I'm going to change my result. I'm not going to go 1-0. I'm going to go for a high-scoring 3-2 Man City win. I'm going to go for a high-scoring affair. Sorry, what's funny about 3-2 wins, Sam?
It's just. Yeah.
That I've changed my mind. No, I think it'll win 3-2. I can see it being end-to-end
I hope
affair.
it's a good.
Because regularly Manchester derbies are fairly end-to-end. Neither team can normally defend. I mean, years
No,
there's been
they're very
6-0,
end-to-end.
6-1s. There's been high-scoring Manc derbies previously. But yeah, I do see City taking this one, and they'll probably advance to the next round. Well, to the final, to face Villa. So that, unless we've got anything else to add.
I say we predict the League One results. There's 2 games.
Go
And they're
on.
the okay.
Who are the 2 games? Because I haven't actually had a look.
Gi-
Shown me up.
Gillingham Shrewsbury.
Go on,
Archie will go to you first.
Well, coming off
Because
of
you know the context of these 2 teams.
well, I do.
where they are in the
massively, you know.
league.
They're both great teams. Shrewsbury, coming off of a 2-2 draw with Liverpool. I can see them maybe being a little bit tired from that game. So I'm going, as Gillingham are at home, I see them winning 2-1. But to be honest, no one really wants to hear our half-baked predictions for these games.
I
But
think
crack
they
on,
do.
Robert.
We might have a League One. Yeah, we
could
definitely.
do.
We got
We
to
will.
cover. We got to cover every league.
Gotta
Come on, we
cover
don't
them all.
discriminate. It's an
Sorry.
English podcast. It's not. It's
That's
not.
true.
It's not a
Sorry.
Premier League and
Sam does
Championship.
have a point.
I don't mean to discriminate. Any
Exactly, even
Gillingham,
our guest
Shrewsbury
understands.
fans, I apologise.
Robert, go.
sincerely.
Gillingham, Shrewsbury. What do you think?
I'm gonna say draw again. It's a 0-0 though, not a 1-1.
Oh, you're going 0-0.
Yeah.
Sounds a thriller.
Well, Gillingham Shrewsbury was my first ever football game.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
went to
nice.
the playoff final, and it was the worst game of all time.
Who won?
Gillingham scored a last-minute winner. I was there as a Shrewsbury fan.
What?
Celebrate.
Why? You don't support Shrewsbury. We were nowhere near
We had like
Shrewsbury.
family friends who gave me like a Shrewsbury top who were like Shrewsbury. Yeah, I don't really
But
understand.
Gillingham are close to where we're both from.
I know, but at the time, I don't really know. All I know that is that we were supporting Shrewsbury, but it was such a boring game. When Gillingham scored, we celebrated.
Deep-rooted
Just-
connections.
Just because the fact that the game wasn't going to go to extra time.
Brilliant.
And I went off chasing a beach ball. It was very interesting. But
Sounds great. What's the prediction, Sam?
yeah, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent here.
Unlike you.
I think 2-0 Gillingham. Because I think Shrewsbury be tired.
Yeah.
And then
what's the other game?
the final game is Tranmere against Sunderland. Another team that's done quite well, or not.
Or getting battered. A Tranmere at home.
Yes.
They're
they
playing
are.
on that pitch again.
Yes.
Oi, I genuinely see them winning on that pitch. I see them beating Sunderland 2-1. No context to it. Just that pitch is terrible, and I reckon they'll be more used to it. Robert?
Yeah, but Sunderland are good.
Yeah, not this season.
Good
Phil Parkinson.
Good.
To be fair, they're 2 points off the playoffs, 7th, while Tranmere are
Are they
21st.
in the
Tranmere are
relegation
definitely going to
zone?
win.
I'm gonna say 2-0 Sunderland.
Sounds good.
Tranmere are 6 points off 20th. However, they've got 3 games in hand on that team.
Are these one of the games in hand, presumably? So I reckon they'll win it and they'll start climbing up the table.
Yeah, technically. 'Cause
Exactly, yeah.
MK Dons played 28 and for some reason.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Just love playing football.
Love it.
Tranmere, I can't see them winning.
Oh.
And see, I think Shrewsbury 3-1. not Shrewsbury.
Oh, that'd be impressive if they won in a
Yeah,
Tranmere Sunderland
that,
tie.
that'd be a shock.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anyone
I
would have
think
predicted that.
Sunderland will win 3-1. I think, I think they just have too much quality to lose to Tranmere, to be honest.
Fair enough. Well, there are our predictions. There is our full English podcast.
Our first full English podcast was meant to come out last week. But
Exactly. Out of interest, completely off topic. What's your favourite part of a full English breakfast? What's your favourite bit in a full English? Eggs, bacon, hash browns. Robert?
I have to go for eggs. I
Eggs.
guess
How do you like your eggs?
scrambled.
Scrambled. Classic. Go on.
what a way to end the podcast.
This is valuable
I'm
content. that you
kind of
want.
like a picky eater, so like my full English will be toast, bacon, sausage, and hash browns.
It's
You
not
know what?
bad. To
I've
be
never
fair.
actually had a full English.
Robert, that is it. Next
That's
podcast we do,
bold.
I don't think we're allowed it in the studio, but we're going to bring in a full English for you, and you're going to eat it, do ASMR
Okay.
while we're
I
recording
mean, the
this.
idea was to get a different guest every week.
Now we'll get Robert on again for another a full English. But yeah, no, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, hash browns, they're great.
Yeah, agree.
Sweet.
Hash
We'll finish the
browns, yeah.
podcast on hash browns. Thank you all for listening.
What a way to finish. And
exactly.
On, and on that bombshell.
Oh, that bombshell. Robert, you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, just thank you for having me.
Oh.
I'm just happy to be here.
I'm sorry. Carry on, mate. Carry on.
Hope you'll have me on again.
Yeah, we might.
And,
Wow. We will.
No, we will.
and up the Reds. Come on.
Up the Reds indeed.
Yeah.
Sam, want to say bye?
Yeah. Bye.
Brilliant.
Yeah. What an ending.
Absolute
See you
content.
later, guys. Thanks for listening.
See you later, guys. Thanks for listening. Adios.